Right now, you are bored. Maybe you picked up your phone before you even finished a thought. Maybe you opened an app, closed it, opened it again. Maybe you are watching this video because your brain needed anything to fill a gap. You have been doing this your entire life. But here is what no one ever told you. Boredom is one of the oldest, most powerful forces in human history. And what your ancestors did with it changed the species forever. The real answer to what ancient humans did when they were bored is far stranger than you expect. Start with the science. Psychologist Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire has spent years studying what boredom actually does to the brain. Her research shows that boredom is not emptiness, it is pressure. Your brain does not go quiet when it has nothing to do. It ramps up. It begins searching. It starts generating. Boredom, Mann found, is one of the most reliable triggers of creative thought in the human mind. The brain interprets the absence of stimulation as a threat and responds by producing ideas at a rate it never reaches during focused work. Your ancestors felt exactly this. Picture a human being roughly 80,000 years ago. The sun has gone down. The fire is burning low. The hunt is finished. The camp is quiet. There is nothing to do. The predators are mostly still. The children are asleep. And that brain, that enormous, expensive, calorie-hungry brain, has nothing to point itself at. What does it do? It makes something. Archaeologists call the period between 100,000 and 40,000 years ago the cognitive revolution. It is when modern human behavior suddenly appears in the fossil record. Cave paintings, carved bone flutes, geometric engravings on ochre stones, jewelry made from shells drilled with deliberate precision, figurines carved from mammoth ivory. Anthropologist Francesco De Rico at the University of Bordeaux has spent decades analyzing these objects, and his conclusion is striking. There is no survival advantage to a shell necklace. There is no evolutionary pressure that demands a flute. These objects were made because a brain with idle time invented the concept of making things for the sake of making them. Boredom built the first art. But it goes deeper than art. Think about language, real language. Not grunts, not alarm calls. The kind of language where you can describe something that does not exist yet. Where you can tell a story about an event that happened 3 winters ago. Where you can say, what if we tried this differently? Linguist Derek Bickerton argued that this kind of language, what he called language with displacement, the ability to talk about things not immediately present, would have been nearly useless during moments of immediate action. You do not stop to narrate a hunt while it is happening. You do not describe a predator in the abstract while it is running toward you. Language with this level of abstraction, Bickerton suggested, developed during the in-between moments, during rest, during quiet. During the long, slow hours when nothing was happening. Your ancestors sat around fires telling stories because they had nothing else to do. And those stories became the first shared mythology, the first religion, the first concept of a past and a future. The first moment a human said, "Let me tell you what happened to someone else so you do not have to learn it yourself." That is the foundation of culture. And it grew in the silence between survival events. Here is the twist. For most of human history, boredom was not a problem. It was a resource. Your ancestors did not have a word for it, because it did not require one. The idle hours were just the hours. They were when the brain did its most important work. The cave at Lascaux in southern France has paintings covering almost every surface. Aurochs, horses, deer, abstract shapes, handprints. The people who made these images were not professional artists. They were hunters and gatherers who had time and a burning need to do something with it. Researcher Stuart Brown, founder of the National Institute for Play, argues that play behavior in humans is not frivolous. It is a biological drive, as old as the limbic system, as necessary as food and sleep. His research showed that human children deprived of play develop measurable cognitive and emotional deficits. But the insight that cuts deeper is this: humans never outgrow the need to play. Adults who lose access to unstructured time to boredom show the same patterns. Reduced creativity, reduced resilience, reduced ability to generate novel solutions. The idle brain is not wasted. It is doing the work that focused attention cannot. Your ancestors knew this without knowing it. A child in a hunter-gatherer camp spent most of its day in completely unstructured time. No curriculum, no schedule, no screen. Just the world and a brain with nothing specific to do. Anthropologist Peter Gray at Boston College documented this across dozens of hunter-gatherer societies and found a striking pattern. Children in these communities almost never experienced the kind of boredom modern children describe as unbearable. Not because they had more to do, because they had learned to let the brain run. The idle hours were not a void to escape. They were the whole point. Now look at what you do today. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. That number comes from research by a Syrian, and it breaks down to roughly once every 10 minutes of waking life. Every time your brain drifts toward that restless, searching state, that ancestral boredom signal, you pick up a rectangle and flood it with input. You seal the gap before anything can grow in it. The irony is not subtle. Your phone is the most sophisticated boredom-killing device in human history, and your brain is the most sophisticated, boredom-powered creative engine in nature. You are using one to shut down the other. Every time you would have invented something, your phone offers you something to consume instead. This is not a moral judgment. It is just biology. Your brain was shaped over hundreds of thousands of years to generate its best output during those unstructured, restless gaps. The idle moment is not a failure of productivity. It is the entry point for everything that has ever surprised you about your own mind. The first song was probably hummed by someone waiting for the rain to stop. The first story was probably told by someone with nowhere to be until morning. The first drawing was probably made by someone whose hands needed something to do. When your ancestors got bored, they built the foundation of everything you call culture, language, art, and meaning. Tonight, when your phone is charging across the room and your brain drifts sideways and you feel that restless, hollow, searching feeling, that is not a problem to solve. That is the oldest creative engine on Earth, asking you to let it run.